Okay, hello once again. I am doing this one day earlier than I thought I was going to, but that is okay. So today, we are going to analyze Varz's 106.14 that he got very recently, and we're essentially going to see, like, what it takes to get a time like this, and how you get, how you go beyond this point and get lower times. So the reason why we're looking at Varz's run, well, I asked him for permission, and he gave me permission. But, I've already analyzed my runs enough at this point. And then the only other run faster than this is Oofster's run. But it's bad for his skill level because he got a low 104 and he was completely 102 capable. And at that point, 102 is close enough to 1 flat to where it's not really worth looking at. This is different because it's still like a few minutes away from world record, but it's a very good time still. And it's still 3rd place, and it's recent, and it's good for his skill level, so it's definitely worth taking a look at. So I'm gonna be, obviously not like, I'm gonna be, like, nitpicky, but not overly so, because I don't want the video to be, like, 4 hours, plus a lot of it is just straight up going to be movement. But there's also, like, the lack of strats, or poor execution of the strats, or poor backups, and stuff like that, right? So I do have my run as well for some comparison stuff. So, immediately, so Varrz is using 480p. There is no cursor on the screen for some reason. Hold on. There we go. So, Varrz is using 480p, but he's not, like... The problem with using 480p is that it does, like... It forces, like, widescreen, and I don't like how it looks, but it technically doesn't affect game. I mean, it kind of does, but only really for, like, the combat, so it doesn't matter here, but I don't like how it looks, but that's not a time thing. Next is the splits. I mean, you can see how detailed my splits are. Like, it's got the attempt count, like, the comparison that I'm currently going up against, and I've got, like, the segment time, and then the total time of the run, as well as, the comparison and the best, previous segment, best possible time, blah, blah, blah. These this has previous segments, but these splits are very, like... It's going to be a little hard to analyze this because I just don't know. Like, if he makes a mistake and then misses a gold, I don't know how much time he actually lost off of his gold. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, I don't like how little detail these splits have, but technically it doesn't matter, but it's like, still bugs me. Okay, so now we can get on to the actual run. I guess 2x will work for now. I'm just gonna have to assume that his loads are average, because I forgot to look into his loads, I just realized, but... Anyway, yeah, so no truck skip, but, like, you should absolutely not be doing truck skip at this point. If you do it perfectly, it saves, like, 0.8, but, like... My reset rate in no cheese is very high. Like, it's... If anything, I could probably justify not doing it, but never do it, because then you'll force yourself to do it. Alright, so he's doing the flower jump, which is good. Also, Varrz did get, like, a high 107 recently. And I did look at the run and give him some pointers, but I don't know which advice he took, and only a few days later did he get the low 106. Also, his description said that he might go for 105 one day, so I don't know, like... He might never go for it, or he might go for it, like, if he sees this video, maybe. Anyway, yeah, that wasn't, Seems like a pretty standard no-cheese so far. He doesn't pan the camera down. Panning the camera down reduces lag, but not much. And the problem with panning the camera down, like I do, is that you sometimes, hell, kind of frequently get a bad line to the trampoline, so I don't really blame him for not doing it. Very minimal time loss. He's going for the buffer. That was a almost mid 108, which is actually, like, not bad. I expect 107s without, truck skip. So at that point, it's basically just, like, movement. Because, like, his slide skip, like, he barely built up speed, which is a good thing. Maybe I should be using 1.5 speed. It'd be easier to just, yeah. Okay, so you don't have to, like... So, the way that people generally do this is that, like... They'll, like, turn back to prevent a ledge grab, but you don't need to do that. Although that didn't really lose him anything, really. But, yeah, I don't really do that. Or I, like, turn back, like, less. Okay, so when you... This is technically just, like, a theory, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. It's definitely correct on GameCube, at least. When you start activating an in-game cutscene, you want to, like, just go neutral, like, ASAP. Because it seems to load the cutscenes faster. Again, it's definitely the case on GameCube, and I feel like it's the case on Xbox. Okay, so that's an example of movement. So we actually will go back to 1 speed. So again, like, he could have stopped moving there. So his line here is bad. And now he's trying to, like, correct it. So he lost, like, a couple frames. And then he wiggles again, so you lost another couple frames. Like, when it comes to movement in this game, you want the camera to, like, guide you, essentially. So what I would have done, like, I get, you know, because I'm so used to it, I would have... Well, I mean, he tried to be fair, but yeah, like, you just get used to, like, the camera angle, but also, I wouldn't have done, like... I wouldn't have done, like, this wiggling around to make sure that I have the right angle after the fact. If my camera is wrong, usually it's better to immediately try and adjust it as quick as possible so that you can then continue to take a straight line for the entire rest of the thing. Not always the case, but generally. Okay, wow, that jump was fat. But yeah, he went a little further than he needed to. Like, it's like here-ish, where it's like the checkpoint, but it's not a big deal. This jump was fat. He just held A for too long, so obviously you don't want to, like, you want to hold it for a tiny bit, but yeah, it's just not a huge thing. Okay, we could probably go back to 1.5. Yeah. See, I would have turned the camera there, just then. And now his camera, yeah, so and then he adjusts it again. Like, again, a lot of it will come down to movement, which is just something that you get more used to as you play the game more. Also, I don't know what Varz's practice sessions are like, but I will say that from my experience, like, no one practices this game enough, like, other than, like, me and Oofster. Like, generally, people won't play this game for months, and then they come back and they literally practice, like, Now Men, SCDA, like, you know, Neptune, maybe. But, like, I mean, my practice sessions are very large. You really don't need to, like, practice as much. But, like, my practice sessions last, like, an hour, like, or 50 minutes. It depends on the day and the category I'm playing. But for no pause storage, it generally takes, like, 50 minutes. Like, I practice, like, all of SCDA, all of Now Man, like, a lot of Plank, you know, Neptune... And if I get hit, then I reload the level. Just stuff like that. Like, that it'll help you become a better player. Did he need to do that? Hold on. Yeah, okay, he did need to, yeah. Okay, so I do recommend that everybody, if you're doing buffers in the run anyway, then I recommend to basically anybody, unless you're, like, going for a really good time in Frogfish, or you're, like... What's it called? You're like going for world record or, you know, close enough to it. So that jump buffer loses like over a second compared to winging it, but the consistency will like drastically increase. And I've tried to convince myself to do it, but I can't, dude. So basically, don't be like me. If you do buffers anyway, absolutely do that. Yeah, you'll lose a second this early in, but... I mean, you're losing several seconds to higher-level players in every level in the game anyway, with some exceptions, like some sliding and driving stuff, but yeah. Also, yeah, that line was a bit quirky. I would have turned the camera sooner. And again, just, like, not letting the camera guide him enough. Like, and that line was off. Again, it's just, yeah. Alright, so... Let's see how he tackles this. Okay, so... You really don't, like, need the manlies here. Like... what I've started doing is just jumping over the foggers, because sometimes they can hit you, or you have to readjust them, and it's not really worth it. I mean, it doesn't matter that much if you hit them or not, but, like, again, he moved to be able to try and hit them, but that's not complete, like, if you just jump over them, it could, yeah, and, yeah, that's swerve and just on. Definitely could have saved a small handful of frames, at least. And I don't think the manlies are necessary. I mean, we'll see his manly count into SCDA. To be fair, Hundo's manlies are really good, and I've been playing Hundo recently, but, like, I hardly ever have issues in no pause storage for manlies, and I'm going to have, like, the least number of manlies compared to other people because I'm doing the most skips, or I just, like, fuck up something the least, or I'm, like, just, like, not wasting frames, like, hitting certain boxes or whatever. Okay, he took kind of a wide turn there. The ledge grab thing saves, like, half a second. Yeah, it could have turned sooner, but it's not a big deal. Alright, not bad. Basically. Also, did you know that you can hold left click on YouTube videos and it'll just, like, play in 2x speed? Is actually pretty useful. Alright, so he let himself, like, dip on the cone a little bit more longer than he needed to, but that's, like, whatever. And he took a while to jet. So the way that I do this, which I also would generally not recommend, if you walk into this part by here, like, it's on a slightly lower Y level than this bookshelf or whatever the fuck it is. It's not bookshelf, whatever you'd call it. Shelf, I guess. So I jump from, like, here. However, then you have to jump, like, then the direction you're holding matters more. So I don't really recommend that. But yeah, so the way the Varrz did is probably good. I've never thought about really how to land on the token, but I take a more direct path to it, whereas he landed, like... Yeah, I'm not sure what would be faster, to be fair. Alright, sandwich driving. Varrz has all of the driving world records, but it's on GameCube. You would genuinely be shocked at how little skill transfers from IL to run. Latte, he doesn't have any faster sliding golds than me. It's weird, but that being said, if I tried to get these sliding and driving world records myself, I would really struggle to it. It would probably take me longer than it did for them, which is crazy. It's like you're almost playing a different game. You're playing a different game when you get to, like, the ILs. It's fucking weird. So obviously some of the skill transfers, but, Alright, that line was pretty average. Again, even the lines, like, that fountain that you just went, like, the turn was average. Before, Oofster beat my gold here by, like, 4 frames, so I compared the two. I lost 10 frames on that turn alone. Like, that's crazy. Also, if you hear chickens in the background, that's the first time I've heard them in fucking months. I thought my neighbors fucking killed them. Anyway. Okay, well, that was unfortunate. Obviously not intended. Other than that, seems like a pretty average sandwich driving so far. Okay, so he's not going for fast sandwich out of bounds, which I would probably okay, fast sandwich out of bounds is absolutely cancerous. I do not recommend it until, again, you're going for, like, a 13 in Frogfish, or, like, you're going for, like, 101, or, yeah, like, mid 101 or some shit in no pause storage. Compared to, like, the actual good sandwich out of bounds, if you do it good, then it saves, like, 4 to 4.5 seconds, but it's way harder and way more field-based. So, obviously, he's gonna be losing time compared to me there. I should check what my depression exit was in my PB. So, for reference, like, Varrz is a 321, as you can see, so we'll see after... yeah, so he's gonna be doing... That turn was a lot wider than it needed to be. I've lost a lot of runs back in the day to, like, not touching the trigger here, but the trigger is, like... The trigger's, like, here. And so he went... And he just stopped moving entirely. You don't want to, like, stop moving. You want to, like, set it up so that you can turn efficiently. We also found that it actually saves frames to nitro as soon as you start turning, like, this way. But it requires good movement, but it saves a few frames, and you have, like, the nitro to spare with this, this strat bit. Wow, I do not like that setup. Okay, so... the way that I would normally do, like, you go, like, past the yellow lines, and then, and then slow down for a second, and then nitro from here. I'm trying to remember how Sky does it, because Sky does it in a way that they find it more consistent, but it's so... I wonder if Varrz copied it, because I can't remember what the setup was like. I don't know how consistent this is for him, but God, that is not... I mean, if it makes the difference between not wanting to do it in runs and doing it in runs, then I suppose it's fair enough. But yeah, that's losing him, like, compared to even when I was doing this setup, he's losing, like, a couple seconds. And you can tell, so his nitro speed is already gone by the time he lands on this. I would still have nitro speed, a little bit of it. Although, to be fair, that gives him a really good line here, but yeah, he's definitely losing at least, like, a second and a half. Alright, so the next thing I want to see... Okay, yeah, he does go for right side. So right side saves half a second if you are able to go for it, so that's good that he knows to do that. Well, I mean, he's done ILs, I guess he would know, but yeah, yeah, so already... 611, that doesn't sound bad at all. So 316 compared to 321, and yeah, 107. Actually, let's check out how my truck skip was, because that will determine how I see... Dude, I'm holding left click and just... Okay, yeah, so I got a good truck skip, so it probably would have been like... What did I get? Okay, it would have been like high 107. And he got like mid 108, so not too much of a difference. So depression is where he lost a lot of time. Because I had a 316 exit. Let's just say like mid 316 versus like mid 321 to make it easier. So 5 seconds. So we know like over a second is from creek buffer, so already then that reduces the difference then to 4 seconds. So he lost 4 seconds. Well, like 3.5 if we're also factoring no cheese, so like 3.5. And that just goes to show, because like depression is mostly like a movement segment. Like you can generally tell how good someone is at the game based off their creek gold, because like generally like higher intermediate level players, they'll still have like 214 depressions. I think I kept saying creek instead of depression, my bad. They'll have like 214 to like 216 depressions. And for reference, mine is a 208. And on average, I get 209 to 210. And I don't know what Varz's gold is, which is, again, the thing I was complaining about earlier. But, yeah, he lost, like, not even counting the buffer, he lost like 3.5 seconds to me, which, again, just goes to show how important movement is. I have to assume his loads are average, because mine are average, so I just gotta assume that they're average. So I definitely should have thought about that more, but, you know, you live and learn. Okay, so immediately... Okay, so you do not want to do that, so... What is faster is to jump on this, and then bash. Because then you're in the air, your movement is restricted for a lesser amount of time. So it's just free time save to do that. And again, okay, so he jumped over the trigger, it looks like. You want to do a pretty low jump here. Because then, like, you won't jump into the trigger, you'll walk to the trigger, which is faster. That was pretty slow. I kind of, like, I mean, I say risky, it's not really, you'll probably lose, like, 1 run to it ever, but, like, there's a faster movement you can do here. Dude, again, it does not like me holding left click sometimes. So look at how I do it. So his setup was a bit fucked anyway, but even compared to doing it the way that he did it, but fast, the way that I did it saves a quarter of a second. So, not a quarter of a second, it saves 0.15, I think. So when you also factor, like, his turn, it's more like a quarter of a second. So... Again, he's just, like, wiggling around a bit. So, actually, is this notable? Not really, no. Okay, actually, okay, so, his turn there... Oh, no, it was fine, never mind. All right, let's see what gang. Okay, so yeah, hitting the foggers there is not necessary. If you can tell that you need to swerve to hit them, it's usually not worth it, but it can sometimes be. I can see why he went for the spin there. All right, so he goes for right gang like a good boy, so we don't have to worry about that. Spinning that jellyfish is unnecessary. Like, you get like 10 manlies, completely unnecessary. Spinning on the ground loses 3 frames, so you want to spin as little as you really need to, unless it's to make a setup easier or something. So, spinning there is also on that. So you don't really want to spin here, because what can happen is that you can sometimes knock the fogger into the slammer. I think I said spinner earlier, god damn it. You can sometimes knock the fogger into the slammer in a way that'll get him to aggro you quicker and then he hits you. So it's also not really necessary. Alright, does he buff a bounceless? Okay. I don't know if he actually traditionally does bounceless, but you absolutely should do bounceless at this level because it's a 4-frame window and saves 6 seconds or 7 even. Even if you need to buffer, it's better than nothing. But I'm going to assume that he was going for it and just missed it. You should not spin this, because you might be thinking, like, oh, well, if I miss bounceless, then at least I get manlies. Only 50, and you lose frames. And these manlies are adding up, but so is the frames. Definitely lost over a second compared to me by now, just from like, trying to get these manlies that aren't really necessary. It's easy to, like, not... Like, if you look at Cole's 138 in NMG, he loses several seconds throughout the run from just grabbing shit when he's, like, over-manlied. Like, it's just... Like, you really don't think of, like, how much time the shit costs. Alright, that was good. Alright, so this isn't necessary. All that's necessary is knowing if you got the cycle. You should definitely turn the camera there. Like, that was scuffed. And his line there was a bit fucked, but again, movement stuff. 2-framing on OG, by the way, is actually terrible. So if you have the money, I would recommend buying a 360 adapter because I'm you know, it just straight up is like objectively easier to do lag stuff like on a 360 controller. But obviously, you know, you can't expect somebody to like spend the money on that shit. Alright, so he's doing bungee now. Currently not... Okay. A note I gave to him is that, like, because I couldn't tell if he was, like, going for the buffer on these. But I said to him that he should be going for the bungee buffers because, like, they're free as fuck. And I don't like using the word free much, but, like, they really are free. This is the second run I've seen from him where he's not opening the menu, so I really, really would suggest buffering this because, like, the time save is like 2 seconds. If he did go for it but missed it, then you need to do it earlier than you think. The window is actually pretty fucking massive. So, for reference, like, I would have started buffering, like now. Maybe, yeah, like, now. So you have a big window to do it. Some people don't like risking buffers because, like, or 2 frames. Because it's like, oh, I'm dedicated to the run. But, like, first of all, you gotta learn to, like, not get attached to runs. Like, I don't really get attached to runs anymore until, like, guess 2. And second, like, buffers just, the window's so big. You really... It gets to the point where you get surprised when you miss a buffer a lot of the time. Okay, you can turn the camera here so that you don't have to make SpongeBob do a full turn afterwards, but it literally saves like 2 or 3 frames, not a big deal. That was scuffed. Yeah, he did not need to do that. He could have kept walking forward and hit the slammer and he would have been all fine and dandy. Alright, so he's going for steamed early, my beloved. And also, I can't compare my run time-wise to him anymore because he did 3k bungee early, but already, again, just has lost quite a bit of time. Yeah, again, just like wiggling around. That spin that was unnecessary. Ooh, he's... Okay. While he did not do bounceless, you do not want to be this close to the cacti because you'll almost always suffer from invincibility frames afterwards, so that's a little risky. Like, don't want to be quite that close to the cacti when you're collecting the token. Okay, I do not understand trying to spin all those foggers and jellyfish that are, like, actually in the way and not spinning this one. This one, I actually spin, because sometimes he'll zap you, and then you're on a bad cycle. I do not understand not spinning that one, but spinning, like, all the other stuff. So that is definitely... Also, you do not need to go that far out for this. The trigger is, like, here. Like, with this, like, little rock thing, a pebble, I guess, is on the floor. And yeah, he didn't turn enough here, so his position didn't get updated. That's what I'm talking about. You want to swerve there a little bit. Let me show you what I mean. So again, I'm gonna spin the jellyfish. Oh, I did a pretty fat... Okay, to be fair, I can't really criticize him much then. Yeah, not... Oh, okay, to be fair, I didn't do it as much as him, but yeah, I went a little further than I needed to. But yeah, I walked... So I turned like, I walked for a little bit, and I walked, like, further, like, this way. Whereas he did it, like, more immediately, which is definitely not what you want to do. Like, even the reason why... So he's doing floating block late, like I recommended to him, because it saves, like, 10 seconds. But he already lost time from the route because he didn't turn properly there. So... Okay, yeah. And if I recall correctly... Okay, he does upgrade... So he took my advice and upgraded Kawu here. Yeah, upgrading Kawu here is objectively free time save. So I'm glad to see that. Let's see if he... No, he's still doing his old setup by the look... Oh, wait. No. Yeah, no, he is. So I basically told him that I really do not like this setup. In my opinion, the only good one is the Sky setup. And I really do feel that way. I mean, it is technically the Sky setup, but like a little different. But yeah, I really don't like it. So he's setting it up the safe way, which compared to me loses like 2 seconds. But that's obviously like, who cares? Like, you should be doing the slow setup anyway. Like, unless you're going for like a top time, like a really good time. So... I don't like this camera turn because what is it, like, actually doing for you? If anything, there's, like, a lot of, like, little micro things that go into this trick, and having to turn the camera just adds another layer to it. I feel like it only adds difficulty. And as you can see, like, he missed it. Let's see if he gets a second try. Yeah, that was good enough. So, compared to how I do it... Actually, we can kind of compare... Okay, so 11:15, and I had 10:03. Bungie's, like, a little over 20 seconds, so let's just subtract, like, 25. Or let's add 25, so I have a 10:08, a 10:28 equivalent, and he has 11:15. So, we were pretty close, and then sandwich driving in 3K just, like, made a huge difference. Although, again, I really do not not only do I not recommend fast sandwich out of bounds, you basically have to mod your Xbox to actually, like, get remotely consistent at the trick, because it's so insanely feel-based, and you only have one shot at it per attempt, and it takes, like, 2 minutes to get there every time. So you basically have to mod your Xbox and use the practice mod. Like, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, you'll see my setup now. Again, I don't recommend doing this. Okay, my setup actually was a little safer than what I normally do, but yeah, like... So now I'm holding left, and then when you get to, like, roughly here, you start holding, like, up. And then when you get to here, then you start you jump and kind of like hold A bit. Although my setup is a little different from the Sky one because I just muscle memory it. You're supposed to like hold A like both times, but I kind of don't. But yeah, so you start holding up, and then like partway through like this first jump, then you hold like down left, and then like you jump. It's hard to explain. It's actually a pretty hard trick, but so Varrz missing it once isn't exactly unexpected. But you see how, like, we are doing effectively the same setup, but I don't turn the camera. So it's the same number of steps, except I do one less step. So it's easier, right? Like, you can also use D-pad, but 360 and OG D-pad are atrocious, so I don't really recommend that generally. Actually, let's see something. Oh, my alarm is going off. Alright, I have an alarm so that I can go and, like, make food because it's kind of an awkward time for me to record this video, so I will be back later. Okay, I'm back. God, I was AFK for a while. Alright, so, BBBH. I was just about to say, why didn't he slam the floor? I've been playing too much 100%. So yeah, so that was pretty... It's, not really faster to cartwheel on the floor, but I mean, we haven't timed it, but I can't imagine it's faster. Because, like, you'll barely lose time initially, and then you get to spend more time cartwheeling before jumping to the barrel, so I'm pretty sure that the path that Varrz took just then was a little slower. That was a weird swerve. Also, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I don't like this aspect ratio, because then you get literally, like, less room down here to, like, because, like, the visual cue is Patrick, like, but when Patrick's foot touches the ground, but, like, you can't, like, you can see it, but it's still, like, not as much of a visual cue as it could be. Okay, this looks pretty normal. Okay, yeah, so that was good. You can do something else here, but it's not really, I mean, it doesn't save much at all, and some stuff can go wrong, but you can, like, you can kill the spinner, like, in the air, and then land, like, here. Or is it I don't know, but yeah, you kill the, like, you just do a slightly different order, it's, like, a little faster, but I don't, you know, would easily see why you wouldn't want to do that. What speed am I on? Okay, yeah, it's pro on 2 for now. Yeah, so BBBH is quite... Okay, no, okay, so... BBBH is quite, you know, linear, so there isn't much that I could say other than movement. However, that is one thing. So, he did try to... The fastest thing you can do here is, like, slam the edge, so that when Patrick, like, starts falling, he's already using a part of his animation, so you just save a little bit of time. Right, not much, but, you know. And the other thing as well is that it is faster to slam on the edge here. But he goes for that, and then for some reason, like, goes out of his way to, like... But you know what I said about, like, in 3K, about, like, the bash restricting your movement? It's the same thing here. So I don't know why he did that, but no, you still want to slam. You still want to slam here. He should have just walked a tiny bit forward and then done it, because then he just lost extra time for no reason. You can just cartwheel the second TNT there, and then you don't have to, like, swerve around the second one, because the second one is the only one you touch. So it's just, like, a little better to do the second one. Alright, this looks pretty fine. Slamming, Jesus Christ, slamming that turret was not necessary. He did get the slam I was talking about, by the way. It just saves a little bit of time. That was, I don't agree with that. I don't know, like, if that's to try and make a normalized setup before he lands, but I don't like that because the jumping was unnecessary. Could have just cartwheeled around. Okay. There's, like, a little thing as well. Technically, off the swingers, you want to jump back onto ground, like, as close to the edge as possible, so that you spend more time on the ground cartwheeling, but obviously then you risk a ledge grab every single time, so it is risky. Like, again, that was just, like, I'm seeing a lot of cases of Varrz not allowing the camera to, like, do the work for him, and then, so he keeps, like, adjusting his line when he, like, would otherwise not need to. That double jump was unnecessary. You just, yeah, I don't know what that was about. If I look at my run... Hold on. There we go. See, look, I probably saved, like, straight up, like, at least half a second on him just then. Really adds up. I really, really wish he had segment time so I could actually, like, see. You know what I should have done? I should have asked for splits. For him to send me a split so I could have a look. Like, that would have actually been pretty good. That is weird. Why did he do that? Oh, well, I mean, okay, I can kind of see why he would do that, actually. Okay, I'll get into it in a sec. Alright, let's see how he... Okay, I don't recommend that most people go for those one-frame jumps. So they're exclusive to Rub-a-Dub 2. I would not recommend them to most people. Because they're really fucking bullshit hard. Because the tub is an atrocious, like, visual cue for, like, landing back on the ground. The bridge is going up. Which means that the time difference between, like, the first one-frame jump and the second one-frame jump, like, there's, like, an inconsistent gap between, like, the amount of time. So you, like, the slide jumps can be normalized and be made easier by, like... Because, like, I don't really think about, like, Patrick's feet touching the ground that much anymore when I'm doing BBBH jumps, because, you know, that part of the slide, like, barely elevates, so muscle memory can take over because it's roughly the same time to land on the ground every single time, but, like, this isn't the case here. And then he just lost, like, 2 seconds for attempting something that he almost certainly wasn't gonna get. Especially because then... And then, you know, to have the one frame save as much as possible, then you can't do, like, the jumping backwards strat, like, at the beginning. That lower level players... I say lower level, but, like, not world record contenders should be going for. So... It just... You know, and then, like, your camera angle's probably slightly off. Like, I really do not recommend the one-frame jumps. It looks like you got... Yeah, okay, you got that. Cool. I already went over why I don't like the setup before, so it's like... Okay, so this is what I don't understand. I realized that the reason why he moved BBBH Spongeball to later was so that he could do Rub-a-Dub skip earlier. And I very much agree with this. I think this is goated. Very goated idea, because it doesn't lose any time, right? Also, he doesn't do fast corkscrew, but I would not recommend it at a 106. It's like 9 seconds. The reason why I don't understand this is because he went up in the menu to do Rub-a-Dub, and then he went down on the menu to do BBBH, and then he goes back up the menu to do sandwich driving. And I would imagine... Yeah. See, so... Sandwich out of bounds is way harder than doing, like, generic BBBH Spongeball. So I have no idea why he's delaying this to literally as long as possible. Well, not literally as long as possible, but he's getting there. I don't understand that. I feel like that's some, like, fluke in the routing, because it would just be, like, objectively better, essentially. Like, the only exception would be if it's like, oh... Imagine my run dies to BBBH Spongeball, I wouldn't forgive myself. But it's like, that's rare. Like, it's definitely better to get SD out of the way. Like, okay, putting it after Rub-a-Dub makes sense, or before if you wanted to do that. Like, both make sense, but, like, I do not agree with that Spongeball placement. No siree. I want to see something now. Okay, yeah, no, we're good. Okay. So... I do 3K bungee late. And it's the same speed, but if you miss a 2-frame, it loses more, but I never miss a 2-frame, because it's easy, bruv. So, the reason why, like, so, it's for that cartwheel buffer that's just then. You can only get it under under certain circumstances, the cartwheel buffer at the beginning just then. One of the ways of being able to do that is warping from a driving level, but at the time of making my route, I did not know this. So I do 3K bungee late, immediately before floating block, because I thought I needed it, because if you do it from a sliding level, then it doesn't work. I didn't realize that you don't need to until, like, relatively recently, so there's nothing wrong with Varz's route. If anything, it's technically easier, because, again, if you missed a 2-frame like he did, then the route is just faster, the one that he's doing. This is extremely minor and does not actually matter, but I like doing 3K bungee late because it's really easy, so, I don't know, you just get to rub-a-dub like 20-something seconds faster. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's still thought I'd mention it. Which reminds me, I actually want to check something with this 3K bungee, because I actually forgot to look at it earlier. Okay, no, okay. I'm glad I looked. So this is not what you want to do. This is the old strat. Like, diving under the target, you do not do that, right? What you do, where is 3K bungee? You just do this. So what happens is that you dive, like, so you get infinite dives by, like, the game, I think the game thinks, I don't know what the fucking game thinks, but you trick it by going under the target. But honestly, like, if you just leave SpongeBob to be, like, don't dive or anything, it gives you infinite dives, again, as long as you don't go too high up. And then you just dive, and it saves, like, a little over a second, and it's pretty easy. Anyway, now I'm gonna see his 3K floating block, but it's all gonna be, like, movement, to be fair. So, yeah, I recommended to him to do the, floating, because if you're doing buffers, like, floating block late, like, just makes all the sense in the world. It's literally, like, 10 seconds. And compared to not going for it, you don't lose much if you miss it. Dude, there's, like, a tiny bit of food stuck in my teeth. Bruh. Okay, so his cycle in the second half was fine. It's more so that this is kind of... I don't get... I see runners do this all the time. I don't get, like, swerving around like that, because I don't think it's faster, because and then he's on, like, the wrong side of the blocks. And then he jumps on this for some reason. And then he touches the checkpoint at, like, high 337, I think. I know, it's, like, mid 337, so when do I touch the checkpoint? And you can just have a look at my movement for a sec, anyway. I don't know if I fucked up here, though, in my run, I don't know. But see, like that must have been faster, surely. And then, like, look at how much more, like, normalized this is. This path. And I touched it, like, over half a second sooner. Granted, he approached it from an angle where he would have activated the checkpoint a little later, but still, even factoring that, I still made it, like, half a second faster. Anyway, yeah, like, I mean, he fucked up a little bit in the second half, but you can tell what he was going for, like, that's fine. Technically, you want to cartwheel on these blocks for as long as possible, but again, then you risk a ledge grab. And that was good. It doesn't matter when you split here, but I split, like... I like the 3K floating block split to, like, feel longer. Like, to justify its existence more, so I... Also, Varrz has, like, a heart rate thing, which I found interesting, and I noticed that, like, it does not take much for his heart rate to go up. I don't know why, but he gets, like, insane nerves playing this game, because he's not very far into the run. With time, you learn to just not care about, like, the run, though. Alright, so we're gonna see Weenie. And once again, he has the world record for Weenie on GameCube. Okay, so... you can either do this, or you can go around. They both break even, so you can just do whichever one you want. Okay, so it saves, like... it was either 1 or 2 frames, I can't remember, but it saves, like, 1 to 2 frames to... what you want to do here you want to get as much use out of a nitro as possible if you have to go on a ramp afterwards. You want to get as much use of the nitro as possible. And then when you go off the ramp, like, by then, when you begin getting off the ramp, the nitro speed should roughly end by then, because you'll still reserve some of the nitro speed, despite, so you used up, like, all of the nitro, like 99% of the nitro, and then you go faster on, like, the ramp, so it's faster overall. So, that was pretty good use of the nitro, but he could have nitroed a little sooner. And then, as soon as you land on the ground, you immediately nitro again. That can cause some problems like bonking and shit, but generally, you know, although I guess that's a really minor thing. Yeah, that was a really good nitro just then, actually. Again, if you're gonna like needlessly spin enemies and stuff, you should drive into the TNT. The fact that you even like had to move a bit to the left, you're losing like a couple frames anyway. And you do lose a tiny bit of speed momentarily when you like touch a TNT, but you probably would have broken even or lost a frame or two, and then you would have gotten manlies like for free. So I don't understand like spinning enemies that are not in the way, but then like moving out of the way for this. Like, if you're going to go out of the way to make sure you have enough manlies, like, we've already seen 2 instances where it's like, you could have done that. Alright, let's see this Conquer 2 key. Doing Conquer 2 key fast is, like, actually fucking hard. So, yeah, that turn was not good, but, like, that's what, like, a quarter of my turns look like anyway, so I'm not gonna blame him for that. Now, let's see. Okay, that turn was not it. So I'm glad he doesn't grab the nitro here. Too many people grab the nitro when it's not fast, but that turn was, yeah, you gotta go wider than that because Weenie fucking sucks. Like, unless he thinks that this is faster, but because I have not timed this, but, like, there's no way it's faster. Like, he literally slowed down for, like, half a second or something. The rest of the Weenie has actually been pretty good, though, which, again, I'd like to see what his goal is. Okay, there we go, now he hit it, but he could have hit that on lap 2. He didn't have to go if you were gonna hit it anyway, then why'd you go to the left on lap 2? Like, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Okay. Do not go on the oil on lap 3, it's slower. It is slower. Because now you just wasted, like, part of a nitro usage because you went through the oil. And you don't want to nitro through the oil or else you'll also lose time. So that is not what you do. On lap 3 specifically, you hug the corner. And then, like, you nitro here. And then you make the turn. And then you nitro, like, again, roughly around here to get as much use out of the nitro as possible. Yeah. And alright, so this would be a little tricky on Xbox, but there is time save here that you can do. If you upgrade... So, the way the upgrades work in this game, if you upgrade on Xbox, you are guaranteed to get a lag spike with very few exceptions. And the lag spike will happen from a voice line, or an enemy spawning, or an enemy attacking, or you killing the enemy, or, you know, just touching a token. There will be one lag spike, and it will happen with a couple exceptions. That is why you upgrade Cartwheel at the end of 3K rather than the beginning of BBBH. Because 3K is one of the few instances where it doesn't lose time to upgrade at the end of 3K. And it is much harder to do it in Weenie. However, Weenie also prevents a lag spike, specifically when you do it here when driving to the finish line. However, I can tell from Varz's splits he's going to upgrade Slam and Frogfish, which is really easy to do, but then you get a guaranteed lag spike. How much time you lose from the lag spike can vary, but, like, in the literal worst-case scenario, assuming it doesn't lead to an enemy hitting you or something like that, just the length of the lag spike, absolute worst case is, like, half a second, but it's usually, like, 0.2 or 3. I did say I'd be nitpicky. Like, how many times have I been like, oh, yeah, like, you lost frames here, you lost frames there, you lost frames here, like... Again, it really adds up. At this point, mine and Varz's runs actually sync back up, actually, so... Tell you what, like... Okay, so 20... Oh, no, like, after Frogfish onwards, it does. Okay, actually, I forgot to check his, Okay, you do not... No, okay. Do not upgrade here. No, you don't upgrade here. You... Okay, because... Well, there's, like, the standard frogfish, and then there's the frogfish that I do that's faster, and after getting it down, I really don't think it's hard. It's even faster than what Latte used for the frogfish IO world record, although we do it on seconds, not milliseconds, so it doesn't matter. But... Like, if you want a good well, actually, my run's a little old, but it's not even a year old, so it's probably... So what I do is I immediately cartwheel to the right, because then he charges in this corner rather than over here, so you save time. And then he also, because he's still here, then again, his charging distance time once again is shorter. And I'm standing here. I don't remember how much it saves, to be honest, but it does save a little bit. Additionally, if you absolutely, like, have to upgrade Slam... Actually, okay. It might look like his thing is faster because it charged... I'm hoping I remember correctly, because I haven't done the frogfish thing in a while, but I'm pretty sure that despite the second charge being slower, I'm pretty... Like, my thing is still faster, unless this is a different thing that he came up with, but it seems to be the same as the old one. Anyway, no, like, so what... If you absolutely need to upgrade Cartwheel, you do it waiting for Frogfish's second charge. Because at least then you have the option of, you know... Anyway, alright, let's see how he handles this. Okay. Okay, yeah, he kind of took too long to get back to walk here. So the other thing as well is that he's standing pretty far back, which does matter. Because now, and he stood still for too long, but like, what I do, this is just a habit that I had from back in the day, but I stand like roughly by here, which is a pretty good spot to stand, because now watch, like, look how close I am. Look, with loads of time to spare as well, in preparation for when the tongue spawns here. Anyway, so Frogfish, his Frogfish split was 2608, and mine 2419. So pretty big difference already. Some runners, like, you know, Varrz, Tedious, Sam, like, usually going into Now That We're Men, they're, like, compared to this run, they're usually, like, 2 minutes behind, maybe a little more. Like, but generally, like, less than 2.5 minutes. And then, but the thing is, like, the late game and the mid game are practice less, and they're just generally harder, so it's, like, the time really... I've obviously, you can tell by my attempt, I've just played this game way too fucking much. So... And I just don't get the nerves, and I'm very used to the movement in the later levels, like, so yeah, now the time, I'm gonna be, there's gonna be probably less nitpicking, or possibly more, depending on how you view me, like, analyzing the run. Also, he went for skydive, so that's nice. Yeah, that looks good. Let's see how he handles, like, building up speed. Yeah, that was good. Okay. That corner cut was, like, pretty puny. Could have cut more than that. Okay, no. Okay, so you don't want to drop there. Well, I mean, you can, but, like, it's better to drop, like, sooner. It saves more. I forget how much, to be honest, but it's not hard, really. I mean, it's technically a little harder, but I think it's worth. Again, it's one of those ones where you'd probably miss it, like, once ever. Oh, was this before the... Okay. God damn it. Okay, you want to... Wow, okay, my corner cut was puny as well. Okay, so you want to turn a little sooner than this, but yeah, you hold right, and then when you start falling, you hold left for a little bit. I did it for too long. And, like, the trigger's pretty fab, but, like, even if you're playing safe, it's still faster than the other method. But ideally, you land directly on top of the TNTs for maximum time save. That turn just then was kind of like unnecessary. I mean, it didn't really lose time, to be fair. You could cut the corner here, but that's a bit risky. Alright, I'm actually curious to see if he goes for the super jumps. I think I might have recommended him the super jumps. I don't remember, but he missed it, unfortunately. He was pretty close, but yeah. Dude, this food's stuck in my teeth is really bothering me. Alright, yeah, so this is looking good. Like, nothing really to point out. Yeah, like... literally just, like, a faster drop. That's all I can say so far. Does he go for the second super jump? No, okay. I don't really blame him. But I will say it's only a little harder than the first one. It's just that, obviously, the time loss is greater. It loses, like, twice as much, almost, for missing. I think it might even be twice as much. So, I get why you wouldn't want to go for it, but I'd still at least say, like, consider it, because, again, it saves, like, 7 seconds or some shit. So, the only problem, if you land here, and then you'll clip through and not instantly, but you'll die. So you want to have purposely bad jump spacing here, and then do the buffer. But it's like barely harder than the other one, so I think it's at least worth considering. But like, I get why you wouldn't want to do it. All right, looking good. All right, now the man. Let's see. This is like, now the men is like often an immediate point where players like really start losing time against like top level players. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, just turn right a little too late. That's like... What I will say is that I'm pretty sure if this happens, it's faster to just jump, because you can double jump, like, while walking this way, you can double jump, and then, like, by the time you'd be, like, here, you're already, like, here. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure if this does happen, it's faster to just jump up to the, like, double jump to this wall and then wall jump. It actually happened to me yesterday. Like, this exact fucking thing happened yesterday, except it happened on the left side, so the right side. I'm surprised he goes for that cutscene skip, because it's quite a bit harder for only like 2 seconds of time save, but I mean, he got it, so can't complain. Okay, so I did recommend to him as well the idea, possibly Bungie late. I will actually be interested to see if he took my advice. I honestly assume he didn't. Oh shit, he did. Ah, fuck, he died. Oh god, oh no, oh no. That was not caused by Bungie late, though. So at least there's that, but yeah, that sucks. Oh yeah, so 29, was it 29:53? 27:57. I would say, like, when you're approaching, like, a higher level, I would say, like, yeah, sub 30 rock slide is, like, that's pretty good. Actually, the difference between it, yeah. The difference between me and Varrz, actually, is, like, going into Netherman. Why can't I math right now? Hold on. Let me just round my, yeah, 28. Yeah, it's a little under 2 minutes, which is actually kind of impressive. Considering the mistakes he made as well. Like, some of those mistakes they made, like, I feel like it'd be pretty realistic for him to be only, like, a minute 40 behind, or a minute 35 behind. So yeah, I'm glad he took my advice and is doing this Bungie late, though. You can do, like, a bash boost thing here, but I don't really recommend it. Especially because he doesn't even know what cycle he's on. It's only faster depending on, like, the cycle that you're on, and, like, that's pretty unpredictable, especially when you die. Like, you don't even know what cycle you're on. Alright, this is looking... Oh, God. Ruh-roh. This is what I call a movie meltdown. Again, like, this would probably be less likely to happen when you're, like, familiar with it, which is just by, like, continuing more bad runs and just, like, playing the game more in general. I can comment on his fast lobster attempt, though, because he does it differently to me. So, he walks up closer, I assume because, like, it's a bit safer, but I don't do that, and this is another instance of, like, kind of getting, like, pretty much free manlies. Like, oh my god, I got speed boost. I'm so fucking awesome, brev. Okay, so I do it from a distance. The reason why is because if you purposely delay your second bull shot a little bit and then shoot here, then you'll kill the popper and get a bunch of manlies. So again, it's just another, like, if you're really desperate for manlies, like, you know, just little ways like that. So you need to bowl this lobster within every, well, it's every, like, 2 seconds or something, or, like, 2.2 seconds or some shit, or else, like, it won't count. So, like, the way the Varrz does it is pretty safe, but, like, my way of doing it is also relatively safe, because, yeah, if you bowl too early, then the popper will try and shoot you, but you can jump over or navigate around if you need to. And if you do it late, then something else might potentially hit you, but by slightly delaying my second ball shot, not only do I get the manlies, but I also guarantee that the second ball shot is, like, good enough, you know? But it is cool to see that he is doing, like, fast lobster. I mean, because the way that he did it was fine in terms of speed. It's just, like, if you want the manlies, then you'd want to, like, do it the way that I do it. Okay, I forgot he did Bash Gang. Bash Gang is kind of hard to recommend for somebody of this, because, like, it's not hard, but it's, like, so easy. Like, it's not hard, but it's not, like, that easy. It's, like, it's just, like, it's so easy to just choke, I guess. And the worst case scenario is that you drown in the lava and lose a decent amount of time. If you get it, like, second try, it, like, roughly breaks even with, like, not doing it. So, I mean, I guess that's fine, but, like, yeah. Oh, okay, he did a pretty fat turn. He could've, like, I can... Hold on. The direction that this guy shoots in is dependent on, like, the angle that you approach him at or whatever. It would have been a little hard to dodge the popper shot, but he definitely could have made that. But obviously at that point, again, that's just, like, nitpicking. Okay, you do not want to land directly on top of the token, because then SpongeBob does springy legs. So, this is what I mean. Like, you saw that little animation he did? Could have avoided that completely. Alright, this, oh god. Monster skip. There's like a trillion monster skip setups you can do. So I'm not gonna, you know, that setup is a little different from mine. So I do a damage buffer here, but it's pretty, like, hard to justify doing at this level, so I don't blame him for not doing it. It only saves, like, a second, even if you get... Again, this is another instance where you could turn the camera, so SpongeBob doesn't have to do a full turnaround afterwards, but, again, pretty minor. And I would imagine that we're going to see floating block 2-frame. Yep, okay, so I recommended this to him as well. This saves, like, 10 seconds. Because here's the thing, right? Normally, when people get floating block skip, they just internally freak out. And they're just like, oh my god, I got through the strat. I'm home free for now. Like, it's not over. That, like, when... You know, especially when you can do the buffer to make it a lot easier, that's really, really when you should consider... Because, here's the thing, right? If you miss 3k floating block 2-frame, compared to getting it, it loses a lot, right? And that is the same with Natto Men, but it doesn't lose time, like... Actually, what I was about to say doesn't really make sense because of Bungee Late, but... So, to complete doing Bungee Late, like, you need a warp to, like, go to. So that you don't waste, like, a load. Well, you are wasting a load by coming back here, but, like... the load has to be floating blocks, so you need the 2-frame if you're going to do bungee late. Bungee late itself is easier than an unbuffered 2-frame. But that's the thing, like, this route's only really viable if you're doing buffers. But yeah, so not only compared to his previous run did he just save like 9-10 seconds or something, but now he's doing bungee late, and we'll see if he does it properly to save the full, like, 7 seconds. Alright, so he's not doing bungee ball, which saves like a second and a half, but if you do bungee ball, then you have to change your route up, and it's not in my route, but I changed my splits so that if I ever come back to the category, then I will be doing it. So basically, long story short, like, if you do bungee ball here, it's a little tricky, but not hard after you practice it for a bit. It saves like a second and a half if you do it perfectly. However, it sets up ball storage, and the game will crash unless you do SCDA backtracking later to prevent a crash in Sunday 1. So after guess 2, you would do SCDA 2, and then BBBH throwing through, and then you'd warp the plank, but he's not going to do that here, which makes sense. Although I actually kind of low-key recommend that route if you're going to do guess jumps, because then it lets you do guess jumps like 3.5 to 4 minutes later. It's pretty, earlier, rather, so it's pretty bussin'. So the good thing about bungee late as well is that you actually get a normalized cycle here. I mean, Varrz died, like, twice. Like, God knows what cycle he would be on. You know what I mean? But this is, like, normalized. You can actually practice this. And he didn't do it super well, but he did save time with it. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's just purposely not 2-framing the tokens, and I don't... Okay. So, take back what I said, right? So, if you're doing bungee early in Now There Were Men, not getting the 2-frame only loses 2 seconds. However, because in this instance, because there's no box to go to, because you've already done Area 1, he just lost a full-on, like, 6 seconds. So, and then, let's just assume that he would have fucked up bungee just as much early as he did now. He only saved, like, 1 second for his efforts, when he could have saved, like, 7. Again, the bungee buffers are so easy. You, like... This route is not really even worth doing unless you buffer it. So you really, really... I bet it's because of that 114 heart rate, but, like... Like, I don't really know. I mean... Even when you're nervous, it's kind of hard to choke it. They really are easy. What is up with that camera angle? Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Like, the way that I do that... I just, like, turn the camera, I just, like... Yeah, that's, like, a lot more simple. Alright, SCDA... Well, okay, so he was a little under 2 minutes behind me originally. And, again... Now let's see how far behind it. So 35:30, 32:21. So in Now There Were Men alone, he lost over a minute compared to me. He lost like, and we did the same strats, except I did Quick Chris and Monster Buffer, and I actually 2-framed the tokens. So it's like 6, and then like 10, and then like 1. I mean, yeah, I'm just adding up. So, the strats that I did saved, like, at most, like, 12 seconds, I think. If I'm not misremembering anything. But he choked enough in Now There Were Men to, without even factoring that, lose, like, about a minute. Which is, like, crazy. So, again, so that just goes to show, like, Now There Were Men is really when people start, like, falling behind. Let's see. Okay, I was actually wondering if he was gonna do toilet buffer, but he doesn't. It like, breaks even, but I was just, like, curious. I don't do toilet buffer. Okay, the reason why that happened, I think... Yeah, okay, so this once again his manlies are pretty high and he does not need these. Like, obviously with hindsight, it's obviously he should have gone left, but if he just didn't hit these manlies and took like a better line, it would have been more obvious. I think another part of it is unironically his aspect ratio. I'm trying to remember if it also... Because it blocks the view down here. I'm trying to remember if it blocks the view up here. I can't remember, but even if it doesn't, if he took a straighter line, it most likely would have been more obvious, like, to, like, where he had to go to, like, avoid the shot. So because he lost ice physics glitch, he's gonna lose at least, like, 6-7 seconds in floating block now. Also, if you do lose, if you're in the middle of, like, this animation, you don't jump and you don't cartwheel, you just keep walking. That's the fastest thing you can do, is just walk. Those, you do not want to get these manlies. They're slow as fuck. You want to know how slow it is to grab all of these manlies over here, right? Doing... Oh, no. Okay, that makes even less sense. Okay, I thought what he was gonna do was, like, combo these with these, because then it kills the spitter, and then you get, like, a combo and everything. But he didn't do that. So... Yeah, so grabbing that stack just then, I don't know how much it lost him, but it lost him a little bit, I know that much. And again, he really does not need it, so really you should be like... Grabbing those makes perfect sense, but grabbing the first stack does not make sense. Okay, so he's not doing Circulate. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend Circulate, because it's actually surprisingly hard. It took me... I tried implementing it 3 separate times, and only the 3rd time did it stick with me. But I'll show what it is. So you immediately get damaged by these foggers, and then you grab the warp in midair, but it's actually surprisingly hard to do so, and to do it fast. To have it so that it's like the equivalent of if you had already gotten the circuit. Like, it's actually hard to do that. But instead, I assume he's going to... Okay, yeah, he just drowns himself. So, if you are not doing Circulate, the fastest thing you can do afterward is okay, so if you look at my cursor, you cartwheel double jump over to this swinger, and then stand in front of the fogger, and then he burps on you. People don't like... It saves 3 seconds, but people don't like doing it because you get way less speed. A fogger spawning on top of you is way more speed than the fogger burping on you. However, I actually don't like how much speed the fogger spawn thing gives you, but I have to do it because of Circulate. So this is, like, better for people who, like, don't, who find it hard to, like, control, to make the most of that limited speed and have, like, good jump spacing to get up here. Also, I don't think he had to do 3 swings just then. Yeah, no, he could have done 1 less. So he just lost a couple seconds. The spin there is not really necessary, but I might as well just be safe than sorry this late in the run, I suppose. Okay, so now he grabbed the sponge ball warp. He went... Actually, okay, he could have cut it a little sooner, but at that point, it's like, who fucking cares? So, okay, he's doing 1 melon, which I'm surprised by. But yeah, 1 melon's not too bad. So he played it really safe by grabbing the trigger there. However, I do it like this, which is a decent amount faster, but it is a little risky. And also, there's a ledge grab skip there, but it's actually kind of low-key hard. It's like... I'm showing it because I highly doubt he does it. So, yeah, you want to, like, let Patrick dip a little bit, and then, like, have some quirky jumping, and then, like, yeah, it's actually, like, a little difficult. Easy to choke. Yeah, so I don't blame him for not doing that. And, okay, that does not make sense unless he's going to do what I dread. We will see. He's gonna do it, isn't he? Yeah. I can't remember if he did it in his last run, but, like, there's only one reason why he'd upgrade throw now. Oh, God. Okay, I fucking hate InvisiCrate 3 meter. I genuinely think it fucking sucks. Okay, so... in theory, if you get it, like, perfectly, it saves, like, a second over, like, perfect jumps. Actually, I think it saves, like, 2 to 3. But that's if you're doing it, like, actually perfect, and no one's gonna be doing it fast enough to save that much, so in reality, if you get all the jumps, like, you'll be breaking even or losing a little bit of time, and I don't think it's easy. The problem is that it's setting yourself up for disaster in the long run, right? Now I realize why Varrz was just trying to get so many manlies. So, the problem is then, is that even the theoretical time saver 3 meter has been cut, because of all those times where he got manlies when it was completely unnecessary. I mean, he's still over what he needs, but he lost time several times throughout the run frames so that he could do this, and he was struggling to do so. He was struggling to get enough. You will eventually get a run in no pull storage where you will not have enough for this, and then what do? Well, then you're gonna have to start hitting even slower stacks, like the... oh, that's another one as well. The stack at the very beginning of SCDA actually gives, like, 150, and it's only 0.5, so, like, that one's a good backup stack if you need it, which he did not go for, but that would have been a way to, like, secure it if necessary. But, like, again, like, it's not even, like... so, again, he was losing time, but again, you will eventually get to the point where no matter how many manlies you get, you're not going to have enough, or you'd lose so much to where it's not worth it. Right? Actually, that does remind me, actually. I should check something in Now That We're Men. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, he did grab the manlies. I was just making sure. Did he hit the spawner? Yeah, he did. Okay. But yeah, like, when I say setting yourself up for disaster in the future, it's the manly thing. You will eventually guarantee not have enough. And think of other categories, like no major glitches, you have way less going into here. All tokens, you'd also have less. And even if you never plan on playing those categories, like, manly management is still, like, important. So, the whole point of this is to avoid doing the 2-frame jumps. However, this setup is just flawed. Because, like, no matter how you approach InvisiCrate, you will always have to do at least one 2-frame jump. However, Varrz wasn't hugging the left side enough, so he had to do, like, 2, but then he missed some, and he had to do even more. My beef with this trick, right, is that... think about it, right? Think about, have you ever seen anybody do this trick, right? When they go from banging their head against the ceiling to landing on the ground and having to do the first 2-frame jump, they always miss it. Like, 90% of the time, they miss the jump. And the reason why they miss the jump is because it's really hard to react after it happens. So you are very, very likely to miss that jump. Which is kind of ironic, right? Because, like, the whole point of, like, doing this is to avoid the 2-frame jumps. But the 2-frame jumps individually are easier because you can maintain a pattern and you're not, like, literally falling from, like, several feet up. Which makes each jump normalized and, like, makes it a rhythm. Whereas here, you just fall into the ground and you can barely, like, see what you're doing and you barely have time to react and, like, get the 2-frame jump. You will almost always miss it. And then, the other problem with 2-frame jumps, if you miss one, it is very easy to cause a chain reaction. Miss one, your muscle memory's fucked. You're freaking out, because the nerves are getting to you. If you miss one, you will most likely miss more than one. And because you are almost guaranteed to miss this one, you are also almost guaranteed to keep missing them, which kind of half defeats the point of the trick. So not only will you just not be able to do this in future anyway, but, like, this almost always happens. And he did recover it pretty good, but he missed 2 other jumps. So compared to getting, like, hell, he could have even missed, like, a jump going up, and he still would have been faster doing it the normal way. And again, if you're doing BBBH jumps, I don't think this is that much harder. there's like more than twice as many jumps, but there isn't like a shitty turn like there is in BBBH. So individually, the jumps are easier. It's just that there's later in the run and there's more jumps. So it is harder overall, but it also saves a lot. You can miss this quite a bit and still get it. And even though guess jumps are 1 frames, like, doing this few 2-frame jumps is just bad for when you eventually want to add guess jumps. You know, it's just like bad habit to like have and what are you gonna do when you finally get that first run where you don't have enough? You're not used to doing the 2-frame jumps, so the run is most likely going to die. That's the problem. So I really do not like Invisicray 3-meter. I've never liked it. There are a few people who do it, but I fucking hate it. So enough of me bitching about Invisicray. I actually want to... Yeah, so he did this, like, really slow, but it makes sense because there's huge risk to doing it fast. So he just walked over, like, taking a stroll. In contrast, this is how I do it, which is, like, pretty fucking fast. Okay, never mind, I choked because I'm cringe. But, like, yeah, so I immediately, like, start holding right and cartwheel. You have to, like, go this way so you don't, like, accidentally touch a TNT. And then you, like, move this way, and then upgraded cartwheels hitbox is so massive that you destroy this on the way. And then when you're standing here, you let go of cartwheel, and then you start walking, turn as soon as possible, and then press R. The issue is that you're very likely, not very likely, but you're likely to either hit the TNT or, like, accidentally pull R to exit, and then, like, you lose loads of time. But yeah, compared to how Varrz did, even that choke, I still did it, like, a decent amount faster. But yeah, you can see now how I'm doing it, like, let's see how many jumps I missed. I missed 1. However, if I fell from the ceiling, I most likely would have missed more than 1, and as you can see, I don't even have enough anyway. So, yeah, I think that's all I want to say about... Also, one thing I would generally kind of recommend, maybe... I started, after I was done with no polar storage, I actually started buffering 3-meter token. It's hard to do normalize because, like, sometimes you're not going to jump off the tube at the exact same time every time, so sometimes it's just not close enough to the token. But it is kind of surprisingly easy how easy this buffer is. Like, I've only missed it once. It's actually surprisingly... What I would maybe also recommend if you set it up fast enough, so, like, how Varrz... Like, what he could have done is, like, cartwheel buffered here. However, even if you do it ASAP, it saves, like, barely 3 seconds, so... If you set it up too slow, it would have been pointless anyway, so it makes sense, like... Okay, so I did say to him... It's hard to justify floating block light in SCDA because it saves less time and it makes the cycle at the end harder. And it creates one more opportunity to lose ice physics glitch as well. So I don't really blame him for not doing it, but if he did, it'd save like 8 seconds. However, what I will say... all of this is unnecessary because... Right? And the spinners as well. The very edge of this unlocks the floating block warp, so then you literally just go in the menu and warp to it. And for the record, that does, like, roughly break even. However, if you choke the spin enough, then you'll fall into the goo and die. But if you just cartwheel double jump, as soon as you ledge grab, you can just warp, so it's, like, easier and doesn't lose time. Or if you, like, start falling down... but you, like, barely touched this, you might have still grabbed the warp, so then you can, like, check in the menu. Also, it would give you the option, if you open the menu here, it gives you the option to warp to Sponge Bowl now if you wanted to, so that you don't have to have an SCDA 2 split. So that if you wanted to do Sponge Bowl in the same trip, in SCDA 1, then now would be the time to do it. But you can't do that unless you're doing floating block early, or you 2-frame the 3-meter token, but then you'd have to, like, expect to get it every single time, which is stupid. Anyway, he lost ice physics glitch, so this is gonna be hard to judge, but... I will still give it a go. Alright, this looks pretty, like, fine so far. There is, like, a fast cycle you can do at the beginning, but even I don't do it. It fucking sucks. Yeah, this looks pretty fine. Like, okay, actually, hold on. Yeah, he should have jumped to this one. This block, because then this one would not have turned, like, he would have been fine. But instead, he had to, like, wait, and then, like, he could have already, yeah, so he just lost, like, over a second because of that. I assume he's not used to no ice physics glitch cycle, which would make sense. Other than that, that was actually, like, surprisingly fast. Like, when did he touch the token? So, like, that would have been, like... That was, like, barely a high 108, so let's say it would have been, like... Like a 115 token touch if he didn't... lose ice physics glitch. What do I have? Okay, so if I just ran into the token, it would have been like a low 119. So like the actual time difference after conversion is just like 5 seconds or something, which isn't that bad. Because I compared my floating block to Sam's floating block before, and mine was like 8 seconds faster. So Varrz being an equivalent of only 5 seconds behind, and I already told him how to save like one of those seconds. That's pretty good. So yeah, his floating block mostly looking good. PogChamp. Oh, is my phone fully charged? No, it's not. My battery's been getting worse and worse. I really want an excuse to get, like, a new phone, but, like, expensive. Anyway, so now, so here is where I'd recommend upgrading most likely. Because it's a pretty easy because here's the thing, right? He upgraded in Weenie because... Or, I mean, he upgraded in Frogfish because... Like, moving, like, holding A in Weenie and then, like, opening the menu and then quickly navigating over to, like, upgrade Slam. It's, like, a little finicky, but then he essentially did the same thing for Cartwheel just now, like, the equivalent of upgrading in Weenie. Like, he did it in Area 1. Also, if you are gonna upgrade in Area 1, you should do it, like, during a ledge grab. Because then you, like, will, at worst, break even, at best, like, which is most of the time save frames, so... Yeah. That jump was unnecessary. You can just cartwheel through the crack. Also, I'm pretty positive those manlies are completely worthless. Like, if you already have this many, I can't imagine you could possibly need the rest, but... I could be misremembering, so for now, I just won't... Yeah. And this would be the final opportunity to upgrade, by the way. Would be, like, slamming these Foggers. In case you're wondering. Okay, so he did actually make the cycle, so he didn't even lose that much from grabbing the stack, actually, but still. So there isn't much I can comment on here, because again, I'm just, like, doing it, like, differently. But, as you can see, like... Well, yeah, I upgrade here, like I said. The cycle is, like, very different here, especially if you didn't get 3-meter 2-frame, but, like, it's because, like, the cycle then starts at the beginning of Area 2, or 3-meter load, whereas for him it started at Flown Box, so my cycle there is different. The cycle is easier on, So, like, it would save, like, 10 seconds, but you almost always get a bad fucking cycle here. So that's the problem. Unless you missed a 3-meter 2-frame, in which case it's kind of up to the jumps then and shit. Alright, anyway. Now it's Dennis. Oh yeah, I forgot he does like a weird setup here. Weird Dennis strat, but it's like just as fast. So whatever floats his boat. Alright, pretty much nothing to comment on here. The only thing... Like, to kill Dennis as fast as possible on the final hit, you'd want the explosion to actually be on the right side. Because he jumps to the right side. So he would just die a little faster. However, I assume he threw to the left so that he could avoid, like, Because the spinner, RNG, whether he spawns here or here, I believe is 50-50. So it was probably just to avoid that, which, like, makes sense, but yeah. I have no idea if he, like, attempts the Dennis 1 frame here. But, like, that cutscene that he skipped just then, if you press A to skip it and then press start a frame later, and you get it successfully, it skips the entire token animation, so you save, like, 5.5 seconds or something, right? So the way that I do it is that, like, I put my thumb on my right hand and my finger on my left hand. My thumb is on A and my finger's on start. And then I, like, try to press them at the same time, except I stop pressing A, like, literally just barely sooner to try and, like, you know, so it's like a flick, like A start, A start, A start, like, obviously faster than that, but yeah. However, if you are not going to do that, then I would recommend something else. If you're not going to go for, like, a consistent setup, I would still recommend doing this so that you can at least sometimes get the frame. Here, from here onwards, I would recommend just spamming A and start. Just spam both. If you do not want to, like, learn, like, A then start, just spam both. Because at least then you'll sometimes get it. Or, what's also possible is to, for some reason, sometimes only spamming start works. Okay, so basically, we proved that Dennis 1 frame. We've proven with evidence that it has to be a 1 frame, and we've also proven with evidence that it has to be a 2 frame, so I don't fucking know. Because spamming start proves that it's a 2 frame, because if you press start to skip the cutscene and then press start again, like, the next frame, then it's the equivalent of holding it, so I don't understand why the game... But anyway, that'd be the easiest way of doing it if you wanted to do as few inputs as possible. But A and start spamming is more consistent than that, and then timing it is even more consistent than that. But for Varrz and other players, I would probably recommend just spamming A and start. Anyway, so... yeah, now he's just gotta do Sponge Ball. So nothing to comment on at the beginning. Okay, he could have swat. Okay, yeah. So he could have started holding left, like, already. So that was a tiny bit of time loss, but nothing big. The turn... okay, yeah, he slowed down there because he was too slow. Like, that's what I was talking about, like... So, I mean, you saw that, right? Okay, so he slowed down, and then he's, like, wiggling around, or else he could have also, like, skipped this just now, and then he, like... To be fair, that didn't really lose him anything that time, but... hold on. Like, compare it to how I do it. Assuming I didn't fuck it up. Like, watch now. You can tell I made that a little sooner already, and I, like, cut the corner more. Although, if you cut the corner too much, you'll actually bonk and fucking die, because the game sucks, but... as you can see, I actually get flipped by this because I made it so early. So I already made it here, like, quite a bit faster than Varrz, probably like a second faster, or maybe a bit less. And he slows down a tiny bit again for the fan cycle, because the cycle that he happened to be on, it was definitely smartest to do, but I don't think I slowed down in mine. Yeah, I didn't slow down in mine, because, like, my cycle was good. And then, you should always remember red, yellow, blue. So he took, like, he went to the right, I think, again, because of the cycle. Oh, no, I kind of did it too, to be fair. And then here's what a good ending cycle looks like. There we go, that was pretty good. Let's see what Varz's was. Yeah, see, like, he's just swerving a bit more, although, again, barely lost anything. The 2 frames, like, him missing all these 2 frames really adding up, but again, like, oh, like, you know... what I would at least recommend if you're too nervous to go for 2 frames, at least go for 1 frames, because you know if you got the 1 frame. Because the music will continue playing in the background, SpongeBob or Patrick will do, like, the victory screech thing, and the token count will increase by 1. It's really obvious, so I would at least recommend going for that. Especially, like, there in SpongeBob, it would have been a good opportunity to go for it. Because here, he doesn't need, well, yeah, he doesn't need, like, it feels normal to, like, have your thumb over, like, you know, A, X, Y, B buttons. But, But, like, at this point, he could have moved his thumb over the start. Or, like, used his left hand to, like, control SpongeBob with, like, his finger instead. Like, again, this is a little hard to nitpick at because the OG controller start placement is, like, the actual worst thing on the entire planet, but, like, yeah. The reason, though, why I'm still nitpicking on that is because, like, while this shit is easier on 360 controller, Oof still was on OG, and he was still consistent at this stuff. So it is possible to get consistent at it, it's just a bit harder. Alright, now he's doing throw and through. I am very curious to see his cycle. The only thing is that I don't know if my run has the fast cycle, because I don't know if it existed. And if it doesn't, then that might cause a problem for, like, demonstration purposes, but we'll see. So... okay... okay, that was... he's doing, like, the modern cycle, but a little weirdly. Also, he did take my advice here, because he was, in his previous run, he was kind of like, the slide is really glitchy, and he didn't know how to, like, react to it, so I told him to cartwheel down... I told him to cartwheel down the slide. I think he took it too literal, though, because you meant to jump at the end of the slide, and I didn't tell him that, because I just assumed, like, he'd know to do that, but I guess I didn't explain it well enough. Additionally, but I will say, jumping into the token and doing a buffer, especially on the OG controller, can be a bit hard. But if you're going to cartwheel off of the slide anyway, then you might as well do a cartwheel buffer here. Because that's just unnecessary time loss. Additionally, he didn't do the cycle perfectly or anything. Well, okay, this is like a very minor thing, because it technically doesn't matter. You don't need a cartwheel down here, you'll still make the same cycle. But yeah, other than that, like, yeah, this first part's completely fine. It's just like, the other thing, if he was a little faster, he could have avoided the electric things, and then he wouldn't have needed to jump, but again, that's just like a movement thing. So I actually don't need to show my cycle, actually, regardless of whether I got it or not, because, like, it's pretty obvious, like, hopefully based off my description, like, how you're supposed to do it. Alright, Sunday. Varrz recently got an extreme... okay, again, this isn't the best example because it's Sunday 1, but, like, Varrz on Xbox for the time challenge IL, he got a 249, if I recall correctly, with, like, one really fucking nasty bonk that cost him 248. To put that into perspective, my best is 252, and I can't comprehend how 250 is possible. Which, again, just goes to show, like, sliding and driving IL skill, like, doesn't transfer over that much, but he is good at the sliding and driving. It's just that, like, not as much as transferring as it could have, because movie sucks. Alright, that was good. Nitro management is important. That's, like, a big thing, but I haven't really commented on it because his nitro management has mostly been completely fine. But he knows that because he's actually done the ILs. But, like, you'll be fucking shocked. Like, some people have said to me, like, oh, how, like, can you check my run, see where I can improve? And then you just see, like, every driving level that is always losing frames to bad nitro management shit. And you might be like, oh, but it's only frames, bruv. If you say it's only frames to, like, all of the little stuff in the run, it just adds up to seconds. Additionally, obtaining these, like, free time saves, like, makes you better at the game. It makes you more, like... it allows you to have, like, more of an eye for, like, the little nitty-gritty time saves. Like, it makes you a better player. It makes analyzing easier, and it makes, like... and it puts you in the mindset of wanting to improve even in microscopic ways. Which is the mindset that you should have when you're at a high level. So it's good to just obtain these, like, free nitro management time saves, or, like, these corner-cutting time saves. Because, like, again, it makes you a better player, and it does add up. Like, imagine all the little time saves that you do compared to someone else and you don't even realize it. There's always time to save from minor stuff, but especially, like, the free ones, like, there's no... like, you really should be doing this stuff. It's easy to think like, oh, but my run is good. Now I need to add more strats. But like, if you finish more dead runs and you like, and you're like just grinding runs for gold, so you're just like trying to, you know, maybe like improve your consistency, like, you know what, like you really should be paying more to like. A word of advice that I would give is that if you're looking to improve, you might even just want to watch my run and just see, like, little things. Like, really, even just pay attention to when I nitro. Sometimes it's because of, like, I'm, you know, preparing for a trick or something. But generally, you can see how I do certain things. And while you probably won't be able to comprehend, like, my full time save, because a lot of it will, again, be movement, you can go along. And here's another thing as well, right? I never ended up actually completing my project, but I was doing, like, example beginner runs. It didn't even have canyon skip. No 2 frames. Like, yeah, box state plank bungee. Like, a really slow Dennis 1 that was, like, really easy. Like, it was doing extremely slow things. I think probably the hardest thing I had on the run was dumb jump, right? Even did Cartwheel Creek, which loses, like, 30 seconds. I got like a high 114, and I lost like 20 in plank. And that just goes to show how much movement actually matters. Obviously, before rub-it-up skip and everything, you know, because that's not a beginner trick. So, I didn't do almost like any of the fucking tricks in the game, except for shit that's like literally free as fuck. And dumb jump and like no cheese slide skip. And I didn't do any lag stuff whatsoever. You know, and I just, like, did the easiest stuff possible, essentially. Didn't even do toilet skip, and it was a 114. You know what 114 put you on the leaderboards? That put you on, like, 16th or some shit, I think, like... Actually, let me check. It was, like, high 114. Yeah, okay, I'd be 19th. I'd be in the top 20. And then add rub-it-up skip, and then I'm, like, 15th. And then add, like, the 2 frames. And then I'm, like, around here. Like, already. And then add, like, 3 meter. And then I have, like, a 106. And it just keeps going like that. Yeah, so far, I'm pretty happy with this Sunday. It's, like, basically exactly what it should be for now. Okay, I think he tried to avoid the TNT, but you actually want to drive through it. Because it allows you to, like, cut the corner a tiny bit faster on lap 2 and 3, so it is faster overall. And it gives you manlies again at this point in the run. It doesn't really matter, but, like, I mean, he grabbed the 2-second stacks. I mean, he does care about, like, you're gonna care about manlies this late into the run. Like, that's, and again, I'm pretty sure, I'm positive that overall it either breaks even or saves time to touch a TNT. Okay, I think he was gonna autopilot and go to the right, but then realized you go to the left, so I won't bug him about that. Yeah, no, like, for the most part, like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. This is definitely, like, I haven't watched, like, Sam and Tedious do Sunday in a while, and they're on 360, to be fair, but, like, this just looks like I'm doing it, but, like, with slightly worse movement, which is a compliment. Like, this is exactly what I would hope somebody to be doing, so I'm very happy with this. I have no idea if he goes for Sunday Jump, I can't remember. I would expect him to go for Spiral Skip. Yeah, I don't see... Here's the thing, right? I think he does this on GameCube. The problem is that the physics are different on GameCube, and you pick up your speed faster. I don't know if it's worth, like, turning the corner that hard, and I really do mean I don't know. It's not being rhetorical, I actually don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Might be faster, but I kind of have doubts. Alright. Oh, no, I know he goes for Spiral Skip, actually, because... He actually found Spiral Skip, if I recall correctly. And basically, the history of Spiral Skip is literally just... Varrz found it, I tried it, I could, like, never get it. I slightly changed the setup, and now it's really easy. However, I think he still does his own setup. That looks slightly different from mine, I think, but, like... I would nitro into the wall a little, tiny bit closer to the left. So, like, this trick's easy. Saves, like, 9 or like 8.5, I think, every time you do it. If you do it fast. But yeah, so, like, you nitro there, you get thrown up here. The problem is that this happened, and it's very easy for this to accidentally happen, but it's also not that hard to avoid. He could have avoided it by moving left a little more. Not too far left, or else, like, you risk, like, getting thrown out of bounds, and then you can recover it, but you lose a few seconds. So you just want to, like... you can tell that he's leaning right a lot. If he just flicked the stick a bit left, then he probably could have avoided this. And he would have saved, like, a quarter of a second or something. Although he did do a really good thing here. To compensate for that speed loss, he nitroed as soon as he landed on the ground, which is very nice to see. Alright, Sunday Jump? No. That makes complete sense. Sunday Jump is fucking cringe. I would not recommend it out of 106. If you do it fast, it saves like 4. Fucking sucks. Word of advice, avoid it for, like, as long as you can. Avoid it until, like, at least, like, 102. Unless you're on a different version of the game. So, the slower the paddy wagon is, the more high it gets off ramps. On PAL 360, it's pretty easy. On NTSC 360, it's relatively easy. And it just gets harder and harder. On NTSC OG, it's like, not that hard, but it's just kind of, like, feel-based and inconsistent. You know what I should have done much earlier, and I should have, like, showed you what fast sandwich out of bounds looks like. Because Varrz did... We call it the bulldozer setup, even though fast sandwich out of bounds also uses the bulldozer setup, but... Yeah. Let me just show you what it looks like. Why it's, like, so terrible. I'm not going to go into great detail, but, like... You have to lose, like, the right amount of speed here. And then you have to make sure you don't get thrown too far to the right, or else it runs dead. There's an invisible wall here. If you touch it, like, you'll probably die. Then, if you, like, have the wrong angle here, you can get too much height and lose time, or you could get thrown here and run dies, or you just get thrown here, but, like, you get cucked on height, and then, like, the run dies. And then you touch the invisible trigger. If you don't scoot your ass against it like this, then the run dies. Because you didn't touch the checkpoint. And then here, if you went too far left, you'll, like, bonk and the run dies, or you get stuck here and lose, like, 4 seconds, or you get thrown to the right and the run dies. There's just a lot that goes into it, but yeah, if you do it perfectly, like, absolutely perfectly, it saves, like, 5 seconds or something. And if Varz's setup was slow, so I saved, like... I probably saved, like, 4 on that setup. And then when you factor, like, the 2 seconds, yeah, so I saved, like, 6 seconds on him. Although he did grab the nitro, actually, so I saved, like, over 5 on him. But again, I would not recommend fast sandwich out of bounds. I know that he knows how to do fast sandwich out of bounds, because he submitted a frogfish run today that's actually only like 12 or 13 seconds off the world record, and he went for the strat. However, I'm going to hope that he only did it because it's frogfish. Because if he's going to go for fast sandwich out of bounds, but not buffer the bungee tokens, like, I swear, bro. However, frogfish is actually really good practice for sandwich out of bounds and rub-a-dub skip when you're learning them, or if you're, like, updating them to be faster. Because you only have to do them once, and it's in a category that's very short, so you don't get attached. It's just excellent for practicing it. It's also, like, most people's frogfish runs don't have rub-a-dub skip, so if you get rub-a-dub skip, like, first try, you're, like, almost guaranteed, like, top 10. So yeah, no Sunday Jump, but that makes complete sense. So now I'm just looking to see if he's using his nitros properly. I mean, I already was, but now on lap... because he has a lot of... He has 3 nitros right now. Alright, see, that was good. That is unfortunate, but he did no to nitro immediately afterwards, which is usually the play there. And that nitro usage was really good. Okay, yeah, so... A couple minor things, but that was, like... one of the more impressive segments in the run. Like, one of the closest segments relative to how my split goes. Like, Like, for me personally, if I got that exact Sunday driving, I wouldn't be pleased, but it's not like it'd be a fucking run killer or anything. Literally just, like, add Sunday jump to that, and it would have just been, like, a sloppy Sunday that's, like, completely acceptable. So for him to get a Sunday that good at a 106, like, those ILs are paying off a little bit, which is good. So yeah, I was very happy with that. Alright, time for Gask. Okay, I forgot about this. I think I forgot to say this to him in, like, the notes I gave him before. But, like, this is completely unnecessary. Like, look at how many manlies he already has, right? What is better is to just, like, go left here and then cut the corner. It literally saves, like, half a second. And he doesn't need the manly, so he just lost half a second for zero reason. And also he could have cut the corner just then. Let's see how fast he does, because doing this fast is, like, a little tricky. Alright, he played it safe. Let's see that again. Yeah, that was a bit safe. Let me see how I did it. Alright. Actually, well, yeah, let me show you what I mean, by the way. Oh, wait, no, because I actually need the manlies. Okay, never mind. But, yeah, the corner cut there just saved, like, a tiny bit, and then... Let's see if I did this good. Yeah, see, look. Instead of doing two full jumps, I did 2 short jumps to drown. I did get caught on this a little bit, but, like, you got the gist of it. And then another thing you could do to save frames is that you only do a single jump here, but that's risky. There's a cutscene here. So in a small window of time, if you press A once, then, like, you'll land on the ground faster, which means you save frames. However, I do not blame Varrz whatsoever for spamming. Yeah, he spammed A. So that's completely fine. Barely saves anything, and the time loss is a bit fair. And, like, I'm the only person who, like, doesn't spam A there, so literally, like. But yeah, that turn was quite wide. See, like, there was no reason to get those manlies. There's no point. He literally has 7k. He doesn't need anything else. So any manly that he gets now that's not literally directly in his path is lost time. That corner cut could have been a tiny bit bigger, but, like, that's whatever. Okay. Could have cut the corner a little bit there, too. And there. And that's basically it, except I'm looking... Is he going to cut the corner here? Yeah, he does. Although, he could have done it a little better, but that's, like, fine. Okay, so... It would be faster to, like, jump to the finish line on the right a little bit. The finish line is, like, slightly misangled. It probably only saves, like, a frame or two, but yeah, it's faster to... He was already to the right, but he... I don't know exactly how the trigger is, so maybe it wouldn't actually save time. But it is slanted that way, so I assume it'd save, like, a frame to jump a little more to the right. Alright, let's see Dennis. Okay. He was doing a really weird Dennis setup in his 107 that I did not like, and he died because he was doing that... He was doing it the way that he was, and I basically told him that he should not do that, and I'm hoping he listened. We will see. He did not listen. God damn you, Varrz. So, okay, so that was a fast Dennis 2, so the actual Dennis 2 itself, don't need to comment on it. However, my issue is that how close up he's walking. Right? Because you risk... What happened in his last run is that he bowled Dennis too soon because he was too close to him. It's like the lobster thing again. So he jumped to the right, and then Varrz tried to follow him, and then he accidentally slipped and fell in the goo. That literally would just not happen. So while he did save frames compared to, like, me even... Well, not even guaranteed save frames. Because as long as you time it well from a distance, like, you can break even with just getting closer. And so you risk saving frames, not even guaranteed, but like, okay, to be fair, probably saving frames. And the worst case scenario that happens is that Dennis fucks with you for ages, and then you die, and then you lose like 30 seconds total. Whereas what I do is much safer and can break even with it. And even then, the frames that, like, I did make a point about saving frames. There's a difference between saving frames and saving frames that are, like, practically free, because that was not free time save that he obtained. This is how you want to do it, right? Because, like, as you can see, I'm further back. And I get a little closer at the end, because I actually know I can at that point. If I lost frames to him, barely anything. And sometimes I still fuck it up and he jumps around. But I'm still, like, not standing close enough to the goo to fall into it. So, this is, the way I do is much better. In my opinion, but, you know. Alright, so there's no way of doing guess jumps. So the same thing applies, that he should have cut the corner here. He could have, yeah, he could have cut that a bit better, the lamp jump just then. Here as well, it would have been a bit faster to angle yourself to get hit by this TNT instead. Would have saved a few frames. What did he get anyway? Yeah, like a high 121, but it is possible to barely get 120. Alright, now we get on to plank. So actually, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, so after Dennis 2, 51:38. 47:17. So the gap was originally like over 3 minutes out of Now That We're Men. And now the gap is almost 6 minutes. Well, it's like 5.5 minutes, I think. Is it? No. No, it's like almost 6 minutes. So like a lot of, even though his Sunday was really good, even though he didn't lose much to me in like guess, and his Dennis 1 and 2, like, other than the token frames, were completely fine. Like, still, that, like, he still lost a little over, no, yeah, like, a little over 2 additional minutes. So that just goes to show, and that was the bulk of it was, like, SCDA stuff. And that's before, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, no, 51:38. Okay, my bad, actually. Oopsies. Sorry about that. Alright, let's recalculate that. Okay, no, so he's actually not lost that much compared to me. He's lost an additional, like, half a minute or something like that, which is actually, like, pretty surprising. Unless I mistimed it originally. Maybe I don't fucking know. But, yeah, now we can time it going into plank. Yeah, so 48:51, 53:28, so, like... Yeah, so it's, like, 4.5 minutes. Yeah, so from SCDA to Guess 2, he lost, like, 1.5 minutes on me. In case you're wondering, like, what mistakes I made, for reference... I missed Sunday jumps, which is slower than not going for us, so Varrz had the advantage on me there. And, I got a shitty SCDA area, too. I missed, yeah, 3 meter 2 frame, and then I just got, like, a bad cycle at the end. So I got, like, a 158 or something, when I could have gone, like, a 150, like, 4. But, yeah. Alright, time for plank. Alright, so one thing you can do here, which saves, like, half a second or something like that. If he held select here, like, you can hold it for almost as long as you want, but yeah, just hold it for, like, a second or two before Mindy talks to you. Like, after you skip the cutscene, and then just hold start. If you press B, then, to cancel Mindy's text box, it opens the upgrade menu. And then you just press B again, and it just saves, like, half a second, and it's, like, pretty fucking easy. I don't know. Yeah, see, like that was a really weird line he took. That was very unnecessary. Like he was already lined up for it, but for some reason he like moved to the right. I did recommend to him something here. Let's see if he okay. He took my advice, but not in the right way. Although it worked out. So what he's waiting for is for the Merv to, like, shoot his rockets, so because he didn't do that in his 107. And it loses, like, 2 to 3 well, if you have good movement here, then, like, yeah, so it's, like, 2.5 to 3 seconds, right? So that he can't fuck you. Maybe this works 100% of the time, but based off where he's standing, I can't imagine it does. What I meant is that you want to stand, like, you want to have the wall block you. So, like, you'd walk, like, here or here, and then wait for the Merv. When you hear the missiles homing in on you, then you jump. However, if this works 100% of the time, which I doubt, but if it does, then fair enough, because then it makes the setup a little faster. So, like, 2.5 seconds, yeah. And I highly recommend that. I don't do it, but I highly recommend it, because it just makes it so much easier, because the Merv will not shoot the targets. This cycle, for some reason, unlike 3K and Now the Men Bungee, this cycle starts as soon as you touch the hook, which is, like, bizarre, but it's really nice that it does that. Another thing you can do is just, like, you don't slow down at all, except, like, you walk behind the wall, and then you immediately, like, literally just for a tiny bit, and then immediately turn and get to the hook, to make the Merv a little more likely to hit the wall. I used to do that, but I don't do it anymore, because I'm cringe. Anyway, let's see how this went. Looking good. Okay, yeah, that was, like, perfect. Well, I mean, he fucked up a tiny bit at the end. He dived an extra time that, compared to what he needed to do, but, like, that was still pretty good. So, the only issue then... The only concern... Like, he didn't have to worry about it, but if you go too fast here, you can get fucked. So, sometimes you want to, like, delay one of the dives a little bit if necessary. And yeah, he could have avoided springy legs by, like, holding forward off of the bungee hook. Not for the whole thing, for, like, a little bit of it, just enough to get off the token, and then, like, yeah. Alright, let's see how he does this. Yep, that's fine. And he does this setup, which is nice. That setup is 100% consistent, but is a little hard. The alternative is objectively free as fuck, but when you pop in is complete luck. So... It's cool that he does this one. He didn't have to jump as far into the port ahead. He did not. He could have thrown the melon a bit sooner, but that's whatever. Alright, I would recommend buffering this, either jump buffering or cartwheel buffering. I have a pretty normalized setup for this area. For that token. Let me show you what I mean. Watch this now. So, like, so I just, like, tap B. I, like, stand on the edge and tap B, and then I do the cartwheel buffer inputs. Pretty consistent, doesn't fail often. But even jumping on top of it would be, like, fine. Or at least, like, trying to inch up towards it, like, how you would traditionally with, like, non-buffer token frames. Alright. Wait, did he double jump just then? Okay, I think that was an accident, but yeah, you can just single jump the... That jump is unnecessary, but, like... Fair enough, this late in the run. Okay, so he is okay, so what I will say, I don't know if he, like, went for it, but if he bowled a little more to the right, the bowl would have detonated faster, which would have saved him, like, half a second. But yeah, he just sent a bowl storage. Alright, doing the good setup. I remember, yeah, there's, like, no way that's fast, I feel like. Hold on. Let me see how I... Is there something wrong with me? Why did I think that that wasn't what I did? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. How much did Varrz do? Maybe that's why I thought there was something wrong with it when I was thinking of it in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah, so we could have done one less wall jump, although then you have to be a bit cautious of the spikes, but yeah. Pretty easy if you don't have the nerves. Now he's gonna go for the thingy. That was pretty fucking good, actually. Hold on. Play that back. So the number of wall jumps you do here is... So it also depends on how much height you had going into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's really risky. Well, he did like 8 before like moving forward. 8 is like the minimum that you can do. And you can make 8 and still have height to spare. But honestly, I think even in my run I did 10. Because if you miss it... Like, if you die in the lava, the run is dead. So, if I have any doubt in my height at all, or, you know, if it's on PB pace and I go for 10, I don't know what it said about, like, oh, if you don't have nerves and certain things are easy, but, like, this is, like, obviously, it's a matter of the run being alive and dead, so I'm surprised he played that risky, but... Anyway, we don't need to... Actually, yeah, no, he spun at a good time. Let's see how much leniency he had. Okay, he actually had a lot of leniency. That's fucking weird. That bash was completely unnecessary. I think he did that to, like, guarantee safety, but, like, you have a big win. I don't think I've ever died there from, like, that. See, look now. You stop falling, but you have a huge leniency to just jump. Like, I think it's really easy, so I think you should just, you know... And then the R+A jump. Also, his angle sucked just then, so it would have been harder to upclip, but luckily he did it first try. Technically, you want to jump on this, like, as soon as possible. So instead of doing a double jump, he should have done a single jump, because then it starts the platform thing a bit sooner. Yeah, he could have done that, like, half a second sooner, but... To be fair, like, I do a bit late sometimes, too. Alright, you do not want to jump on... Generally, you want to actually... It may initially save time, but I actually jump on the opposite end of the trampoline. So I don't jump here, I jump down there. And the reason why is because sometimes it'll give you springy legs here, and it makes getting Monumental Bash, like, basically impossible. And the other thing... is that it makes it harder to... Yeah, see, look, he fucked up. The reason why he fucked up is because he had less time to do it. But now, as you'll see, I'm sure... Okay, no, he fucked it up again. Third try is a charm. Yeah, see, look, see, that was much better because he actually had the leniency for it. So you want to, like, jump on the end of the trampoline. Also, I do the bash a little... Well... Yeah, I, like, do this a little faster, but I don't recommend it to people. So yeah, that time loss was because he jumped on the edge of the trampoline. He would have completely prevented it otherwise. Which also meant that he wouldn't have choked the second time, probably, which means he would have gotten a 105. Alright, anyway, I haven't really looked at his menuing, but I would like to see how he handles this. Yeah, so that was slow a little bit. The way to think of it in your head, when the menu pops up, scroll down 6 times, and then you don't have to think of it as, like, scrolling right 5 times to Sponge Ball. The way that I think of it in my head is scroll down 6 times, and then menu to the last task. I don't even think of it as menuing, like, literally just, like, focus on the end task. Like, literally, like, that's how I think of it. To make it easier for myself. And then after you load in, it's just, it's 6 scrolls again. So 6 scrolls down, 5 scrolls across, and then 6 scrolls down. Now I'm curious as to how he does this. Okay, he is doing the yeah, so he knows how to upgrade menu cancel. This is like a harder version of the plank thing I told you about. So yeah, I think he just doesn't know the plank thing because like he's doing this. If you do this perfectly compared to like opening and closing the menu traditionally, so there's like 3 seconds here. It's like hard to do fast though. Like it's really finicky and like the amount of lag that you get from the menu is like sometimes quite drastic. So I'm not gonna blame him. Like it was a tiny bit slow, but I mean some of those were good, some of those were not as good, but honestly like respectable overall. So yeah, that was perfectly fine. Sub one, Mindy skip. Yeah, sub one Mindy skip. 59-56. That's pretty impressive. Because obviously back in the day, like I remember like being happy about like sub one Mindy skips back in the day. That was ages ago, back when I had like a 107. But yeah, it's just like that's pretty good. Like time like sub one Mindy skip. That's like pretty cool. Um, what did I get? 54-33. Yeah, so like 4.5 minutes still. That means he didn't even lose that much on me in Plank. Which it makes sense. Like area 2, as long as you get the lag clip, is like pretty normalized. And he was doing almost the same shit as me in Plank 1, unless you just like worse movement and no ice skating frame. It makes me wonder if I missed ice skating frame in my PB actually, because I'm actually no, I didn't. No, I got it. Oh yeah, of course I did, because I showed it as a demonstration. So he didn't. So most people will lose a shit ton of time in Plank compared to me. I think Latte before. I think he was losing like 30 seconds off me or something. But Varrz seemed to have not lost a lot. I mean, what plank did he get? He got 537 plank, and I got 452. Wait, what? Okay, I think I've been calculating this fucking segment exit times wrong compared to his run at this point. But still, yeah, so his plank, yeah, so he did actually lose a decent amount compared to me, but like Plank is just one of the like Plank, now the men in SCDA are just like those kind of segments where it's like it's almost like expected to lose a lot of time. Alright, okay. Oh my god, no, bro. No, why would you do that, bro? Oh, no. I don't see the point in this. Like, dude, like almost like yeah, like roughly half the time save, maybe a bit less of like guitar upgrading guitar later is in Neptune. I don't understand why he's upgrading now. It's not worth it. If you're not gonna fully dedicate to it, then in my opinion, upgrading guitar late is not worth it. As a matter of fact, that lag clip that you saw us do in Plank, that made guitar late actually save less because it skipped 2 instances where it would save time. So already it's saving less than it used to. Now it's saving more like a second, and yet like half that time save's gone. So it's like, okay, half a second of time save. Why would I not recommend that then? The reason why is because it makes guitaring the statue, the monumental statue, way harder. Because unupgraded guitar's hitbox is absolutely fucking puny. And he did get it, so that's good. But like, it's so easy to miss. And if you even miss one of the guitars, if you're only saving half a second, then if you even miss one of the guitars, then you're losing a bit of time. So at that point, it would be better to just like make it as easy as possible on yourself and just upgrade it, in my opinion. But like, if you're not gonna like fully dedicate to that route. Anyway, I forgot. Yeah, he doesn't nitro. I don't agree with not nitroing the. I nitro the. And then there's this. I also don't agree with this. He like goes on off road a little bit and then goes on the oil, but like off road makes you lose speed. Oil barely does because all it really does is restrict your steering, and like it's a straight line. So I'm pretty sure going on the oil is a bit faster. Um, you could have cut that a little faster, but whatever. Like that again, a lot of the movement stuff is like whatever. Okay, looking good. Did he get middle door? No middle door. Game sucks. Alright. Nice. Double nice. See, I don't agree with, like, a couple of the nitro uses, but other than that, this is a very standard knucklehead. I wouldn't cry if I got this. Again, his driving is, like, you know, his driving's probably the best out of, and like, anyone other than, like, for full game runs, other than, like, Munufsta. I've like actually in reality compared to the platforming, I've had way less to say about the driving. Anyway, so here's okay, so he could have done unupgraded guitar here, and then it would have been faster because the animation's faster. Um, okay, he made the one cycle. That's pretty good. And then the other way that this would save time is that you get to use unupgraded guitar here, and then just before it actually comes out, you can upgrade. So you get the benefit of unupgraded guitar, but then you actually upgrade guitar here. Um, so like the hardest part of the entire like Neptune fight is like the first hit. Also, you can stand in front of the statue and do the strat that I do, but I don't really recommend it. You have to like spin just before Neptune hits you. And then like after you skip the cutscene, like you guitar him. Because like guitar travels less distance and it saves. I forget how much it saves for doing it 6 times, but it's a lot easier on phase 2 and 3 than it is on phase 1. Okay, another thing I would recommend on phase 2, I would recommend after hitting this table walking back a little bit until he starts shooting out, because then this table is like further away from like the center of this, which makes it easier to hit, and then you get to stand like almost, if not actually, directly behind crabs, which means that there's less movement that you have to do here. Like, imagine if you like accidentally took a bad line here and they got fucked, but if you do it the way that I recommended, then you get to like actually stand behind them the whole time. But yeah, same thing here. I'd recommend like doing what I said. And then we go on to phase 3, which is the easiest phase. And he bashes the spitters like a good boy. And that's probably all she wrote, because I can't imagine he got hit on the easiest phase. Although his heart rate's fucking 140. He accidentally detonated then. But yeah, like, I'm so, like, fucking, like, when I PB'd in Hundo by, like, 4 seconds the other day, or the other week, like, I barely get, like, let's say as an assumption that my average heart rate's like 82 or something, my heart rate's probably 90, like 95 or something. But yeah, like, this is just how it feels until like you finish more runs and shit, which obviously then leads to more choking. Fastest I can ever remember my heart rate being was the 129.07. Other than like exercise and obvious shit like that, that was the fastest my heart rate's ever been. It probably was like 140. He seems to have a naturally high heart rate, or rather, he gets nervous easily. Also, he does Sam strat. That's good to see. See, all I could possibly recommend here is either upgrading guitar or doing the spin strat. But I don't really. If you're gonna do that, I would recommend like practicing it in cheap percent first. It's easier in cheap percent as well because you have upgraded spin, which means you can hit the table sooner. And yeah, that's the run. It might not be fully evident where like all the time save is coming from, but again, like the number of times I could have said he should let the camera guide him, like the movement's a bit sloppy. I already said it a lot of times, but I could have said it a lot more. And his movement's like not even bad. Like obviously, like I just mean like compared to mine, Oofster's movement was a bit off from mine. And Tedious and Sam and Varrz are gonna have worse movement than Oofster. And then like people in like the 110ish range are gonna have worse movement than those guys, and so on and so on. And what generally happens is that people can't comprehend the movement differences. People like you can probably tell that my movement's better, but probably not to the extent like so the gap between us is like 5.5 minutes. And like minimum 2 minutes of that is movement. Minimum. Again, like he lost like 4 seconds in depression alone. So the main takeaways are like well, having more detailed splits would be nice, but for the actual run, um, you don't need to get that many manlies. You should be two framing the bungee tokens. Like, finish more like dead runs for consistency's sake. And just like pay attention to the little things as well. I think that's basically it, really, because like I already said everything. When it comes to like adding strats, I don't think he needs to do much. Again, it's literally just like it's more so just like two framing stuff, and then like a couple like smaller things that I could recommend. But yeah, mostly like corner cuts, movement, two frames, mostly that stuff. The most unfortunate segment was definitely Now the Man. He lost so much in Now the Man. Lots of choking, unfortunately. But you know what they say: you never get a great Now the Man and SCDA in the same run, bro. It never happens. It doesn't even matter what skill level you are, bro. World record holder or like your fifth ever run. They're just so, like the segment's still really hard for some reason. Both of them are. Anyway, yeah, so if your time is slower than this and you're wondering how to get better, like, I mean, his nitro management was really good. He was doing a lot of the tricks, to be fair, and just like a lot of like little faster things compared to somebody who would have like a 111 or something would go for. Again, it's just like the little stuff. So really, you should be analyzing his run too. And I think Varrz or anybody around that sort of skill level, like 104 to 107 range, should also watch my run and see if you can pick up on anything. I think that's essentially it. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.